I think it's absolutely crazy how I've educated myself way more than the public education system has ever taught me. And that speaks volumes as to why I left the education system. For those of you who don't know me or remember me from my personal TikTok days, not my business TikTok days, I was a public school teacher here in Atlanta, Georgia, specifically Fairburn. I graduated from Langston Hughes High School, and I taught not only at Langston, but at Creekside as well. So shout out to my high school graduates that still watch me on YouTube and on my other social media platforms. Hi, my babies. But even when I was a public school teacher then, I was extremely passionate about not only history, but accurate history. I remember, shout out to my high school teacher, Mr. Jackson. I love you if you're watching this. I used to get into it with my high school teacher about what was actually correct when it came to that curriculum, because a lot of the things that we were taught were, again, just things that we were taught. It doesn't mean that it was necessarily truthful or accurate. And me and Mr. Jackson used to go back and forth and butt heads about that. And of course, when I was a teacher, they were dissolving CRT. So it just made it really hard teaching an African American studies class. Yeah. Imagine teaching that during them breaking down CRT. It was a whole nightmare because I was technically going according to the curriculum, but they still wanted to give me a hard time. But I digress. This is the reason why I'm here on YouTube, because I find out so much information just from researching, and I gotta share it with my brothers and sisters, my cousins, my primos and primas. Y'all gotta know. What's good in the YouTube hood? It's your girl Luna Nova, and I'm back with another one for y'all today. We absolutely love talking about history, but we always talk about world history, but not enough about American history. And so we're going to talk about it today. What if I told you that beneath our feet were hidden soils, cities, and even pyramids that history tried to erase? I'm talking ancient wonders that predate textbooks. From mysterious stone structures to hidden pyramids, some in plain sight, some not so plain. Either way it goes, America holds history and secrets. So let's dive into the ancient whispers of the past, far older than what we've been taught. While the world focuses on Egypt and ancient Mesopotamia, nobody ever really talks about the ancient things that are buried right here in America. Beyonce talked about it best on Cowboy Carter, and I think that's the reason why a lot of you all did not understand how spiritual that album was. Nothing really ends. For things to stay the same, they have to change again. Those old ideas, yeah, they're buried here. That was more than a song. It was a reclamation. Y'all just were not paying attention. Y'all don't get me started on Cowboy Carter. Don't get me started, okay? Because I still listen to that album like it just dropped. I absolutely loved it, and I'm not gonna hold you. She's gonna have to release a couple singles because I don't know if we're gonna get a whole album out of her again. But she's gonna have to put out some more country singles because it just made the little country girl in me smile. But I digress. The United States is home to hundreds of ancient pyramids, including the famous Cahokia Mountains in Illinois that once held a civilization that was thriving and larger than London at one point. Think about how big that is. But what's more shocking to me anyway are the recent pyramids that were found in California. Apparently there's a whole California lake where people drive past it all the time and just see this partial pyramid in the side of a mountain. Like hidden right there in plain sight. Other researchers and independent explorers have found these different pyramids buried way deep in the sand. But in recent years, some of these pyramid structures are starting to show their apex. And some of these researchers say that some of them show geometric precision that is a little too precise for it to be human. Now the question is, could these be remains of ancient civilizations that once resided in California? Or could it be something else? Now let's talk about the Grand Canyon, one of the most interesting canyon ranges in the world. And what exactly happened in 1909? Well, the Arizona Gazette claimed that they discovered ancient artifacts from Egypt in the Grand Canyon. Now, of course, I want to know what artifacts were found and where exactly is this located. And you guessed it, it's classified, so the world may never literally know. Allegedly inside are hieroglyphics, statues, and other mummified people. But it wouldn't surprise me if this location would be in one of those restricted zones in the Grand Canyon, because they always restrict the things that we want to know about. I think it's absolutely crazy how they can be nosy and curious and want to dig into things, but the moment we want to do it, it's a crime. And of course, in my opinion, the reason why they keep things like this hidden is because it could literally change history if we knew who was here first. Not to argue that there weren't indigenous people, or the indigenous people that we know of, that they weren't here. It's not to say that. However, we could come across more beings, more groups of people that congregated with the now known Native Americans or indigenous people of America. It just changes the whole trajectory of things. But this is why they keep things hidden. I mean, if this is real, why hide it? This could rewrite the story of the transoceanic contract. Who really set first in ancient America first? Because we all know it wasn't Christopher Colonizer. In Rockwell, Texas, a mysterious subterranean wall was uncovered in the 1800s. A massive structure, perfectly straight, deep, and composed of several large and strangely positioned rocks. Perfectly straight, deep underground, composed of giant stones stacked in really bizarre positions. And mainstream archaeologists claim that this is a natural phenomenon. Yeah, okay. But others argue that it's too far extensive for it to be anything of this realm. Many Native Americans have an old baraki about star people or star brothers who are ancient builders. The Hopi people speak of the ant people who lived underground and helped create survival for them. And even the Cherokee have an old baraki about large cities that were once swallowed up by the earth. Are these just myths, or are they lost civilizations buried under sediment and lost history? Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi all have pyramid-like mound structures. Some of them are aligned to different celestial events, kind of like the pyramids in Giza. The Etowah Indian mounds, for instance, show signs of advanced planning, astronomical alignment, and complex social structures. So why isn't any of this in our history books? A lot of people say that it challenges a lot of mainstream agendas that are trying to be pushed, as well as a timeline. And others point to colonial erasure, how indigenous achievements were often minimized and attributed to lost races. Not really lost if people purposefully erase it, but I digress. There's also a theory that powerful institutions purposefully erase ancient America, to protect certain narratives. As far as we know, tale as old as time in America. One thing's for certain, the more that we look, the more that we'll find. Clues that America has an old and ancient mysterious past that's hidden right in plain sight. From California to Georgia, from mounds to pyramids. Something slept beneath us for a millennia, and maybe it's time that we start digging it up, metaphorically and literally. But of course, I always have to ask you guys, what exactly do you think is hidden beneath our feet? Drop a comment and let me know if you have come across any crazy things while out exploring, because if you were like me as a child, I was constantly digging things up because I was curious. And for those of you who have not liked, comment, and subscribed, I don't know what you're doing, my hoodlums. Make sure you go ahead and do that, because more content will be pushed out soon. Because you know me, I'm always going to be back for more hidden history and mysteries. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up so I can go ahead and push another one out for you guys. So make sure that you drink your water, mind your business, stay prayed and protected, and as always, Luna loves you. I'll be back with another video for you guys, if the spirits allow it.
Hey, ain't it funny how they don't want to contribute the things that happen in South America, in North America, from the ancient cultures, even though this is just all one America? But when you search pyramids in America, they want you to ignore all the pyramids throughout America. I'm going to show you some of them. Now, before I say that, they want to say, hey, these pyramids right here, they're the ancient pyramids. And it only has like 3 pyramids. You can't even really walk up them. Then they got a bunch of little pyramids here and there. Most of the pyramids and old structures are here in America. And they're not even far from the United States. They're in most of them are in Central America, right below the United States. So let's zoom in, okay? Some of the most amazing ones are right here on the water. Wouldn't an ancient people be in a tropical zone, especially when you don't have to pay money for it, right? You come up on this tropical zone and you start creating life out here. And then you start making things like this. Look at that. Look at that. That you can go up and view the water. Let's go to another one. Look at that. I'm supposed to ignore this right under our feet in the Americas because it's not necessarily in the United States. It's on our continent. But just like Egypt is not in their countries, Okay, this ain't in our country either, but it's on our continent. Central America is North America, is America. Okay, and let's keep going. Let's keep going. There's some more over here. Cholula, Cholula. Look how big and amazing that structure is. I think one of these they say is 23 miles at the base, the size of a multiple cities almost, damn near. Here's the Pyramid of the Sun. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't this amazing? They don't want you to think about these. That's not ancient. We ain't done. Look at that. Look at that. And these people keep these intact down there. They keep these structures intact. The ones in America, oh, they got rid of those. The ones in, I'm sorry, let me not say America. The ones in the United States, because that's America right here. They got rid of those, okay? We got pyramid cafes and shit. But this is all around that same flood zone, okay? That same zone where the flooding happened, which I believe was the Great Flood that they talk about in the legends. I say that because California used to be depicted as an island. And the reason why, over time, it drained and it left the rocks red. The reason why the rocks are red at the Grand Canyon in Sedona and all along that line is because of the iron deposits left by the seawater. It was underwater. The Colorado River is what made the Grand Canyon what it is today. They say that's what carved the Grand Canyon, the Colorado River, which was which had flooded the whole area at one point, which there used to be a civilization under there. I personally plan on going and doing the tour, but you notice how the rocks are red and they have things that have been weathered and, you know, kind of just messed up over time from that flooding in that area. Okay? Many different ones I can go to, but this book is filled with different structures. But the reason why these rocks are red is because of that. Now, when you search pyramids over here on this continent, shit. And they want me to believe these people right here has something to do with that. Even though they want you to believe that, remember, a lot of our people were here in the South. The Mississippian culture is what they called it later, but all that culture was down here, and those pyramids are all just right here. They want you to believe that these people had nothing to do with this stuff because it's Mexico. But they want to say that, hey, niggas, my Namibian people are the Egyptians. Y'all done made it all the way across here. Y'all ain't got hardly no food and water. Then you done crossed this whole desert of just God-forsaken nothingness. And then you done made it all the way up to here, you know, with damn near nothing. Look how barren this is. Look how barren this is. You want me to believe that? You want me to believe that y'all knew anything about what was going on up there at all compared to us making a quick little old stroll down here like, oh, man, y'all, hey, man, it's warm down here, man. Man, let me get on, man, look at this spot right here, man. Let me set up a little something. You know what I'm saying, man? You see how beautiful it is right here, you know what I'm saying? That's why they said there was kingdoms all throughout here in Haiti and stuff. Because these are beautiful areas. Wouldn't you want to make the most beautiful areas kingdoms and your homes? Now they just been colonized and turned into tourist spots and all kind of little stupid stuff, you know what I'm saying? But you know, ancient times when nobody was doing all this kind of BS, all that would have been populated and cracking. Everybody would have been up in this zone, you know, partying. That's why they do all that partying down there, nigga. That's all they done forgot about life. That's in some of these little areas like the Dominican and Puerto Rico, Haiti. I mean, they got a lot of craziness going on right now, but they want you to believe that you couldn't have made any of that happen. But these Negroes with hardly any water, hardly any streams and lakes to get their ass up there, they would literally have to walk it. Think about this, y'all. Over here, there's so many lakes and streams and stuff. Look, they're going right there. You could just travel down that bit and then find another one, hop off. Oh, travel down this bit. We ain't got to do hardly too many walking. There's all kind of lakes and streams, and the Mississippi goes through all kind of stuff. You know what I mean? There are a bunch of little streams and stuff like that pulling through spots. So, like, there's ways we would have been able to figure out how to get around. And then you got oceans you can cross. That's easier to cross than to walk. You know what I'm saying? I get to sit down, let this boat do its thing, and control these little air things. You know what I'm saying? Little cells or whatever, and do what I need to do over here. And the whole time, I probably got plenty of fresh water that I can stop along the line and get off to a fresh lake, get some fresh water, get back on, because there's tons of freshwater springs. But then you come over here, there ain't no fresh water, there ain't no food, it's barren. You first you gotta make it across this nothingness and marshy. They ain't even cleared the land. Remember, we cleared the lands, okay? They ain't even cleared their lands yet. You know what I'm saying? You want me to believe y'all done made it all the way? They ain't cleared shit. This is all unexplored. I bet. I don't even know where the fuck I'm at right now. Hold on. Goodness. They want you to believe. I'm in a Democratic. Look at all that area of Democrat. You see all that hard, dark green? They ain't even cleared that yet. They ain't cleared none of that. They don't even know what's in that yet. Come on now. And then when you finally get towards where some of it's cleared out by nature, because they ain't do it, then then you got to cross all that. Then you got to cross this. What is this? Ain't no roads. You got to walk this. Okay? Ain't no rivers. Ain't no lakes. You have to walk this. Is that a lake? It's a lake of dust. Y'all got lakes of dust, okay? And you want me to believe that they made it all the way up here to all the way. And then they started building up some pyramids. If y'all want us to believe this shit, somebody has been eating a hell of a lot of shrimp. Look at them little crappy pyramids they tried to build right there. And then they built these ones. Look, I ain't tripping. I ain't talking too much shit. Our ancestors could have went over there and built up a little something for them at one point, or maybe they came back and tried to copy. I don't know. But either way, quit playing.
All right, there you go.
Pyramid, bro.
Yup, right here in Heber Spring, Arkansas, man. Yup.
What's the name of this again?
Sugarloaf Mountain here in Heber Springs, Arkansas.
Heber Spring, Arkansas. I got to research this one, bro. I never heard of this one.
Heber Springs, Arkansas.
Bro, Heber got something to do with Hebrew, bro.
For real?
That's crazy. Oh, yeah,
Yep.
I got to research this. I sure appreciate that, bro. That's love right there. I appreciate that.
Yes, the name Heber is often associated with the Hebrew word Eber. Heber is a translation of the Hebrew word Eber. Eber is considered an ancestor of the Israelites, also known as the Hebrews. Let's keep going. Eber is interpreted as beyond or the other side, potentially referring to a region or a crossing point. And some believe it may be linked to the origin of the word Hebrew. We know the truth now.
See, the sooner y'all realize Pocahontas descended from this man, the sooner y'all will understand what we, so-called Black Americans, mean when we say we descend from and thus are the Amerindians, the Paleo-Indians, the American Indians, whatever you call the indigenous inhabitants. not to be confused with the politically orchestrated and federally recognized Native Americans. They like to put these prefixes on our name, but they know who we are. And now, we know who we are. Have you ever wondered why they fought so hard to keep us from knowing who we were? It's because we weren't exactly civil. By 1670, Slavs and servants were banding together to rebel against owners. 1680s, Virginia passed 2 acts that combined, quote, Native Americans and Africans into a single racial category. It didn't matter if you were a, quote, Negro, a Moor, a mulatto, or an Indian. If you weren't Christian, you could be held captive. I heard some people think they were only enslaving black people, like you were from Africa if you were a slave. Don't even get me started on the 1700s when they started using terms like black and Indian and mulatto synonymously.
Ancient Egypt is America. America is Babylon. Babylon is the Vatican. The Vatican is the Roman Empire. God is Christ. Christ is you. You are God. Yes, it is absolutely true. The Roman Empire did crucify our brother named Yehoshua, who they reclassified as Jesus. Yehoshua did perform many miracles. Yehoshua also told you that you will perform greater miracles in this world than him. Yes, it is absolutely true. Yehoshua did tell you that he is God, I am. But Yehoshua also told you that the same God that lives in him lives in you. Yehoshua did not die for your sins. Yehoshua died because he was a revolutionary. Yehoshua died because he ascended to the Christ consciousness. And as a result of his awakening, he immediately went against the religious leaders and the government of his day. So they crucified him. You know, kind of like how they hanged all of the civil rights leaders of the 1960s. I don't know. Almost makes you think that them burning crosses in our yard was a sign. We did it to your ancestors, we'll do it to you. I don't know. Anyways, the only reason that you believe that Yehoshua is I am, that you are not I am, is because your oppressors, the same ones who called for Yehoshua's crucifixion, the same ones who say they are Jews but are not Jews, and instead are of the synagogue of Satan, lie to you and tell you different. Because you don't know yourself, you believe them. That is the generational curse, that your enemy will tell you who you are, and you will believe him. Despite the fact that that same enemy in the same book that has you under a curse tells you that he is the devil and calls himself God. I'm here to tell you that any God that requires you to go outside of yourself is an idol and a false God. God is within you. With all of that being said, ancient Egypt is America. America is Babylon. Babylon is fallen, and Christ is already here. Let me explain. Black people are the original Jews of the tribe of Judah. The word Jew actually derives from the word Judah. When I say black people, I want to be clear in saying that I am not referencing all melanated people. And I also want to be clear in saying that I love all of my melanated brothers and sisters. I love all of my non-melanated brothers and sisters. I'm not talking about y'all. Specifically referencing the people that the world claims don't know where they come from. It's important to remember that originally, Jew was an ethnicity, not a religion. You could look at someone and know that they are Jew in the same way that today you can look at someone and know that they are Negro. Everybody melanated is not a Negro, just like everybody melanated is not black. Negro is the indigenous American that was reclassified as Negro, and again as black, and again as African American. Those names don't belong to us. They belong to our oppressors. We know who we are, just like we know who we are not. You can put a group of Negroes in a room full of other melanated folks, and the Negroes will know exactly who is Negro and who is not, even if you and they cannot make the distinction. With all of that being said, we, the indigenous Americans, are Jews. However, all people, be they good or evil, make up the full body of Christ, Christ consciousness. Remember, even the devil comes from God. Even the fallen angels fell from heaven. The distinction, however, is that we, being the indigenous Americans who are Jews, are the soul food that nourishes the body. All of that being said, the Christ return is the tribe of Judah, remembering who they are, turning away from Babylon and back to themselves, who is God.
Give it right back, did they give it right back? This up, baby, can I sit right back? Wanna give it right back, baby, yeah, like that,